It was not just me who brought this to life, HYPERedu, but many others, as I will tell in a minute. Well, thanks, Katja, for the invitation to this young Senseco webinar. So I've been following Senseco from remotely, and also have been in contact with Katja in the context of HYPERedu for many years now. Well, I'm going to present you about the HYPERedu online initiative, but we'll also share more information, current up-to-date information about the EnMAP mission, if this is of interest for you. I guess so, because we here at GFZ are the science PI of the EnMAP hyperspectral satellite mission, and I can share a few updates about the status, user statistics, about how to get data, how to access data that is probably of interest now that the mission is operational. Then let me start with this slide. Maybe I need to, verstanden? Yep. Remove the window here. As I just told, it's not just me, it's many that contributed to HYPERedu, an initiative that was started 4 years ago in the frame of the EnMAP Science Mission Program. And well, we here at GFZ coordinated, but as you can see from the number of logos here on this slide, many other groups, many colleagues internationally have contributed to the success of HYPERedu. And it's all funded, just like the EnMAP mission, within the space program of DLR, so national funds, German national funds, by the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action, as it's now called. So I would go to the next slide to let you know what I would like to tell today. Yeah, here we are. So this webinar will be about, first to let you know what HYPERedu is really about. You will also learn that there are many people involved and who's involved. Then that there are also, on the other hand side, a growing HYPERedu community, many participants that have enrolled to courses, and many also completed them. So we are following up on that, of course, closely, and are in contact with the participants. You will also learn that this HYPERedu development is closely linked to other efforts that we are doing in the scientific support of the EnMAP mission, such as the EnMAP-Box software development. And yeah, you also learn that you're probably not the target group of these HYPERedu courses and materials, because you're all familiar with hyperspectral remote sensing, but maybe it is still worth looking at it for you, for future teaching, for contributing yourself into the further development of this initiative, which would be great. So I wanted to start with this slide. With Charlie. Many of you probably still know Charlie Kaufmann, Hermann Kaufmann, his correct name. And when I started into the field of hyperspectral remote sensing during my studies at Potsdam University and Southampton University in the late 1990s, a long time ago, Charlie gave lectures about hyperspectral remote sensing, and he used to come with transparencies, these foils, where you had the print on and that you put on overhead projectors, like here, as you can see here on the slide. Not sure if many of you still know these. I can hardly find them anymore. And he used to come there in the morning to the lecture with a pile of those transparencies. And sometimes I remember that it happened once that he stopped after a few slides and then noticed that he had grabbed the wrong pile in the morning. And another time he all fell down and all slides got mixed up. But nevertheless, it was always very entertaining and always very interesting what he told. So that was my first contact to hyperspectral remote sensing and how it was taught at that time. Well, then a few years later, 2003, the EnMAP mission proposal, the initial proposal was submitted by GFZ and partners to DLR for the national funding approval. So that's already 20 years ago. Charlie then asked me 2010 to join the GFZ EnMAP team, which I did, so 12 years ago. And then, yeah, well, nowadays, nearly 2 decades later, after these overhead projector lectures, we have this modern way of teaching hyperspectral remote sensing, and we hope to contribute with HYPERedu to advance in this field and to let the community grow. And you can see here Charlie, our animated figure, Charlie, that we named Charlie, that guides through the HYPERedu courses. I think Charlie, the real one, also liked this idea. Yeah, what is HYPERedu about? Just in a nutshell, it's an online learning initiative where we provide resources on principles, methods, applications, software of imaging spectroscopy. And there are 2 types. One type is real materials like slide collections, tutorials, videos, graphics that users can use in their teaching, can use for self-studying. And on the other hand side, there are so-called MOOCs, massive open online courses, that of course build on those materials. The target group for both would be students, professionals in science, but also public authorities, companies, and we would expect a certain level, certain knowledge of remote sensing before starting with these materials. All materials are provided free of charge under a CC BY license, and for now they are in English, but we also started to have subtitles of all videos in different languages, Spanish, Portuguese. And yeah, the platform, I'll be showing in a minute a slide on that, is EO College, that some of you might already know. It is here, it's developing into the central platform for Earth observation education in Germany, with contributions from different groups. What we contributed here is the HYPERedu part, the hyperspectral part here. It all started with SAR remote sensing in the beginning, but is now growing into different fields. And it's also growing in terms of numbers, registered users. So it's really impressive. It only started 5-6 years ago and has already more than 22,000 registered users, this platform. And if you click on the hyperspectral button here, you will be guided to all the hyperspectral resources that we uploaded. So there are several units, which are slide collections, and there are tutorials. There are also some that Katja and her group contributed, and other groups like the Humboldt University contributed, and others. To give you an impression of those slide collections, they are annotated, so there are notes down at the bottom, and they all follow a certain structure, the same structure, and the same layout, and come in 2 different formats, PDF and PPT. So the idea is that you can really take these as the basis for your lectures for training schools and so on. And they're also referring to each other. So if and this is the principles of imaging spectroscopy, is the very first one, as you can see here. Principles of imaging spectroscopy. There are more others that are also basic slide collections. We have some on methods, some on applications, some on software and data, and of course they build on each other. So I'm going back again, sorry. This is the slide collections, and I said we also have tutorials that are developed not only by us here, but also by other groups. This one, for example, is from the Humboldt University colleagues that also developed the EnMAP-Box. All these tutorials are based on the EnMAP-Box software. So there's this linkage. I know that there was an ARTMO webinar also a couple of times ago here, but I guess that some of you are also familiar with the EnMAP-Box or have at least touched it already. It is a free and open source software plugin for QGIS for visualizing and processing hyperspectral data. It has a big documentation here on Read the Docs. And now that we have EnMAP data, of course, it has all these tools that you need to visualize EnMAP data and also process them. Then, yeah, the slide that I already showed, just to let you know what the current status is. That is more or less our rough plan that we will follow in publishing materials. These are slide collections here marked with this book sign, and the notebook, these are tutorials. And you can see from the tick marks that we have completed many already, but there are also some under construction and some that we, together with other groups, would like to publish in the future. If you have any ideas or would like to contribute, you're very welcome to contact us. Yeah, then coming to the other part, that was the resources part, and now coming to the courses part. The so-called MOOCs, where we published our basic hyperspectral MOOC in November 21, so a bit more than a year ago. It is really yeah, an introduction to hyperspectral remote sensing. I will show a bit the structure on the next slide. It is the idea was that it doesn't take longer than a day, so 5 to 8 hours. Also, well, the feedback that we get is that it, for most participants, it rather takes 8 hours than 5 hours, and it's really also dependent on the participants. It's self-paced, so if they like to follow all the links, all the materials that are provided, of course, it takes much longer. And it's English, yes, as all the materials, and the certificate in the end users get when they pass the final test. Yeah, that's the structure. There's a welcome in the beginning and a pre-assessment test, so to assume that we have a basic level of remote sensing knowledge. This test can be repeated as many times as possible until it's passed. And then there are 3 larger blocks: 2 theory, 1 hands-on, on principles of imaging spectroscopy, on principles of sensor technology and data acquisition techniques, and the last one, a hands-on training on data and software. It's also seen this course as a bit of a repository, so a collection of many links, of many materials, linking to other resources. So once participants have passed the course successfully, they can also go back and have a look again into certain topics and to check the references, for example. Yeah, and then there's a goodbye in the end. And on the left-hand side, it says community learning via discussion forum. All these courses are also linked to discussion forums. They are used, but they could be used more in the future. It's, as we always experience, these discussions only live if there's really a community that discusses. Well, this is what it looks like. Charlie, our nice guy, guiding through the course. There's the course structure on the left-hand side, the main course page with all the content, and it comes in texts, but it also comes in other forms of teaching types. So we try, well, according to learning theory, of course, you only keep a few percentage, like maybe 10% of what you read after 2 weeks. But if you do something yourself or even teach something, then of course you will keep the information much longer. And that's why we try to have many interactive materials here, like this interactive graph, where you can play with the sliders on the bottom, and you see the effect of changing parameters on the spectrum. This is a collaboration with the LMU, Katja's group, where we picked out some parameters just for didactical reasons to see, of course, there are many more parameters, but to see what the effect is. And I think it's a good way to understand remote sensing and vegetation remote sensing in particular. What is also nice with these figures here, they can be embedded in any other website or any other materials, slides. Then there are quite a number of videos. So I said it's really interactive. There are many quiz questions also that users need to do in between following the course, and there are also quiz questions that come in the videos. So to go through the video, and you need to ask some questions. But this really is the case only if you do these, look at these videos in the course. All videos are also available independent from the courses in our HYPERedu YouTube channel. So these also, yeah, if you're not participant of the course, you can still use these videos and watch these videos or use them otherwise. We got the feedback from quite a number of people that they are using them in teaching. So for example, you have these screencasts that explain how to use the EnMAP-Box, also explain how to use the Prisma data portal. And they are, of course, nice to use in teaching, to send students these links so they get prepared already before the course. Well, we see that there are quite a number of subscribers to the HYPERedu YouTube channel, more than nearly 350 since a bit more than a year. And we also see that the highest view numbers have videos, the course trailer, of course, because we promoted the course, but second, the instructional videos like the field spectroscopy video here that comes on second, and also screencasts and software use, animated lecture slides, and expert videos are not get least clicks. Well, in terms of participant numbers, of course, we do an evaluation at the end of each course. And up to now, I just checked the numbers yesterday, there are nearly 2,000 participants that enrolled in this basic course already, and 400 of them completed it successfully, so got a certificate, meaning that 400 people have taken the effort of taking a day off and doing this course. What we see, who's who are the participants. They are really coming from different countries, different continents, as you can see on the map on the left-hand side. They are young, so student age, but also up to senior scientist age. They are predominantly male, but I think that's just reflecting the science world. 30% stated that they had no previous MOOC experience, and 60% stated that they had no contact with hyperspectral data before. Yeah, and as I said already, there are many people contributed to the development of this course, and it was quite a community effort already. So as you can see here, like 50 people contributing. We also collaborating with professional production companies to make this happen. Yeah, I just mentioned the evaluation. There are more evaluation questions because we would like to, of course, take this feedback to improve. And we already had a second or a first revision of the entire hyperspectral basic course recently, and implemented lots of the feedback that we received. So quite positive feedback. What is really useful for us is that people stated that they would like to have more practical exercises, what we also consider in the future even more. And participants also state they would like to have subsequent courses on specific application fields. First was agriculture, water, urban, soil, geology. And that's what we are currently doing, or we did last year together with Katja and her team. We developed a short course specifically on hyperspectral remote sensing of agricultural applications that was published last November. It comes in a similar structure: welcome, pre-assessment test, 3 blocks, theory, big block also on hands-on training, and an exam in the end. But it's much shorter, so we expect a workload of 2 hours, maybe 3. And again, some impressions from the course and also the team that was behind it here at the bottom. Again, we have the same elements. We have text, graphics, also interactive graphics, quizzes, 11 new videos that we produced. And yeah, just as in the basic MOOC, there's lots of references to other materials, to other websites, to other initiatives. And what is new, we now also offer an offline version of this course and also the basic MOOC course. So for people that would like to really take a course in their hands and read it on paper or read it as a PDF version, also those that have no stable internet connection, they can use this offline course document. But for completing the course, of course, it's still needed to log in and do this part online and to receive the certificate. Yeah, and now this year we are planning 2 more of those short courses, one on EnMAP data access and EnMAP data pre-processing techniques. We are currently already working on it. What you can see on the slide is our master table that we fill with live every day. So we're currently really working on this part, already preparing screencasts, how to use the EnMAP data portal, for example. I think that's important to have these screencasts. It's not so obvious how to use the portal, and it's very helpful to have these videos soon. And the second one that we would like to do this year is imaging spectroscopy for soil applications course that will be published later this year, and where we already are in contact with our colleagues here at GFZ and have made a concept like this and are planning the next steps. Yeah, speaking of next steps for HYPERedu, of course, the idea is to extend and revise slide collections and tutorials in the future, to grow the course family, to extend also to other languages or other target groups. And then one topic would also be blended learning, to combine presence, on-site training schools and university teaching with the online equivalent. Yeah, and of course, the idea, and that's of course also the idea of our funders is that we increase the community, that we increase collaboration between missions, what we already do, collaborating with Prisma team and SVG team, CHIME team, and foster the user uptake of hyperspectral data in the future, especially looking towards public authorities. How can you get involved? Of course, you can, free to use any of the materials, videos, tutorials, slide collections. We would be happy to receive feedback anytime on any of those resources, and also happy to collaborate in the future development of resources and courses. And of course, we would be happy if you promote HYPERedu, this initiative, in your networks. I know that Katja does it already a lot. Yeah, I would suggest that I just continue and that we have questions in the end, if that's okay.
Yes, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. I assume that many of you have heard about the EnMAP satellite mission. It's a German mission, 5 years nominal mission lifetime that was launched last April. Then we had a commissioning phase of 7 months, and it started into the operational phase in November. Open data policy, it's data on demand, so it's not a global mapper, as you know. It is a target oriented observation. And well, core application fields, of course, there are quite a range of applications that these data can be used for. Well, the funding, as I already said, is the German space program, and the mission consortium, the DLR Space Agency being the project management, and then there's an industry partner, the German OHB company. The ground segment is done by the by DLR operations, payload processing, and our part here at GFZ is the scientific mission support, together with a big science team, national and international science team, and partners. And it was really an interesting but also very busy year last year. where we had the launch on Friday, the 1st of April, on a rideshare rocket, SpaceX rocket. And you can see here EnMAP on the top, the biggest one here. There were 40 other small satellites that went to space on the same rocket. And then the first image was already acquired 3 weeks later. The one that many of you might have seen over Istanbul, and also first products were derived. So everything looked very good. Then after that, the commissioning phase, of course, one big topic here is for us, the science part, the product validation, where we support DLR. So we went out to the field. We had a big network of collaborators all in the world to measure, to take spectra over predefined areas. Here, the figure that you can see here on the left-hand side is my colleague measuring spectra at the airport in Berlin that is not used anymore, Tegel Airport. It was very funny because they went out there, and the airport team, they wanted them to wear these very bright yellow jackets. And our colleagues could convince them that they need to have black suits, black clothes for the measurement itself. Okay, so the data looked very good. All the requirements were met. And this year, what you can see is the first scene that was taken over the Berlin and Potsdam area. Yeah, then for the data user categories and data access, there are different user categories. Of course, the first one that has the highest priority is the internal user. So for any mission tasks or charter, this one is used. Then already the second one is in the priority list as the science users, here called category 1 users, any science users, where users need to submit a proposal in order to get future observations, to request future observations of their sites. I will come to the portal in a minute. And then we have category 1. These are commercial users. They don't need, let's say it's a special line that is not yet opened, but will open by the space agency in the future, in the next weeks or months. And then we have with the lowest priority the background mission that we also defined. So anytime when the satellite, when there's no other target, then this background mission sites will be recorded. Yeah, the portal, it comes with these 4 windows that you can see here. First step would be to register for all users in the user portal on the right bottom. And then after registering, you can take different roles. One is category 1 user that allows you to submit proposals, top left. It's a very short proposal, just a 1-pager. So to describe the idea that the data will be used for, describe the area, describe the period, and this these proposals will be evaluated not on a scientific level, but more on a feasibility and technical level. And the main point in evaluation is here to assign the right number of tiles that are needed for this described proposal, and also set the right priority. There are 2 priorities, and whenever there are extended field campaigns, the review team would give a higher priority than the standard priority. Then if you successfully pass this step and your proposal is agreed as approved, then you would go to the observation and request portal, where you can plan your future tasks, as you can see on the top right. Plan when and where you would like to have request observations, and then you can also submit these future observation requests. Another path would be the catalog user, where you don't need a proposal. And you can register in this role, catalog user, and you would go to the EO web portal that many of you know already from other DLR projects, DSIS data, for example. And you would order, or you can search the archive and order the data that are already in the archive. Yeah, planning.enmap.org is the web link. Then some user statistics over the past 5 months since the portal was opened and the mission entered the operational phase. So there are quite a number of tiles. One tile would be 30 by 30 kilometers acquired already. The figure here on the right, it's a bit outdated, but it was the newest that I could find yesterday. But as you can see, it's a target mission, so some areas are observed more often, like Europe, than others. We have now, and this is a new statistics from yesterday, 800 registered users that have already ordered data. We have 100 accepted user proposals. So users out of these 800 that would like to have to order future observations. And the others, they might also submit proposals, or they just catalog users and use the archive data. Then for future orders, the idea of this portal is that users or the community, somehow that's very transparent where EnMAP data are recorded, and also the idea is to foster community collaboration. So if you see, for example, that there's another group working in the same area that you're interested in, you could contact them and maybe try to coordinate the future observations or use the data set that has already been recorded there. So that's really the idea of this very transparent way of showing all the proposals that had been submitted, that have been approved, and showing where future orders are and also where data have been taken. But what you can see here, world in red color is the highest numbers. Of course, in Europe, but also America, Asia, and all continents, you find a high number of future orders. Having a look at Europe, it is, mid-central Europe, there are quite many indicated here in blue. So what we really observe is that there is a competition, because future orders competing with each other, and there's a model in the so-called benefit concept behind when it's decided by the system which future observations will be taken. So it, of course, depends on the priority, it depends on cloud cover and some other parameters, because the capacity is limited. So you will not every time you request data, you will get them, but you will get data at some point. Yeah, I think that's the final slide, where I just collected where you find more information. Of course, the mission website, enmap.org, is always a good starting point. We recently updated the EnMAP science plan, now that the mission is operational. So the EnMAP science plan gives an overview of the mission itself, mostly from a scientific perspective, and all the potential application fields of although I think that there will be more in the future to come up. And on the right hand side, just to let you know, there's a recent publication, it's already 3 years now, by a team of colleagues, where we wrote about the state of the art of imaging spectroscopy in the different application fields. So would give a good overview. Yeah, that's it.